Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 388. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Podcast number 2. That's right. Let's do this. Throw down questions.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Did anything happen earlier today?
I don't know.
I don't know. Yo, what up, people?
Got Brett Murdoch in the house.
What's up, people?
And Brian Manjoma.
What up?
All right, first, Brett, what's going on? Where are you? What location are you calling from?
Are you safe?
Yeah, are you safe?
I am calling from the abyss.
Is this the Diablo abyss or the Eldritch abyss?
No, this is just the pit of infinite darkness. I came in, I hung out for a bit, I looked at it looked into me, I decided to hang out for a bit.
There you
Not
go.
my power set.
Yeah, obviously the people listening, they don't know what's going on, but like Brett is like, we only see half of Brett's face is like is being illuminated by a flickering light, which it looks like actual real firelight, like from flames. Am I wrong about this?
Yeah, that's a real candle.
That's crazy. Candle.
Are you doing an incantation?
He's summoning bad juju, you know. Yo, by the way, speaking about that, I saw this post on Twitter. Like somebody had like a carpet that looked like a Ouija board, and then they brought out a iRobot. Like, oh, let's see what happens.
The rogue robot.
Yeah, the rogue robot, like on a Ouija carpet. Oh boy, you know. But anyway, yes, as Manny alluded to, this is actually podcast number 2 of Throwdown for the day. The fellas were holding it down, giving you the live impressions of the Xbox conference, which we'll be talking about tonight. You know, so I want to thank you guys. Originally, when I said we were going to do it, I had no idea that 2 days later I would be volunteering to cover it for work. You know, but got to make that money. You know. And as usual, you guys held it down like at last minute because I was like, "Oh shit, I can't do it." You know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff we got is all set up already. I mean, little Carlos needed to do a little bit of something on his end because it's been a bit since he's gotten his stuff.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. So yeah, so it was just that. But I mean, I feel like a lot of our stuff is all sort of set up already. You just sort of just run the stream and all that stuff.
So good stuff. So pretty sure some of you guys will be repeating some of the things you said earlier. You know, were you guys joined by Riku? Did I hear that right?
No Riku.
No Riku. Okay, Riku. He wouldn't care about no Xbox.
Nah, if it was a
I care about no Xbox.
If it was a live PlayStation presentation, that dude would have jumped right in.
Oh god,
it's just Xbox.
I was gonna invite someone. I was like, oh shit, maybe like I don't know if everyone can join. So I was gonna ask Rich.
Yeah.
And then I remembered that he's in
over
LA.
there. Yeah, he's
over
LA.
there. He's over there at the Summer Games Fest.
That's right. Yeah.
At the actual Summer Games Fest.
Yeah, and we will be talking about that. Yeah, man. He's living it up right now. You know. So what's going on? Who's in the chat right now? We got Ace Ali in the house. Logic Wins. Toon Medic. You know. The usual. Yeah, what's going on? J Shep in the house. Tumeke. You know. There he is. There he is.
Barry Burton, Assyrian Air Force.
Eurocar, you know. Good shit, man.
Welcome, Elsa. Welcome back, guys who were on one earlier for round 2.
Round 2. Fight. All right, man. So let's get into it, man. So we got asked versions of the same question. So I just compiled them into one. Basically, It's simple. Was Starfield worth the hype? We got to see the first gameplay trailer. Everything else we've seen has just been concept art or whatever. This was like legit, full-on gameplay. The Xbox Showcase only showed you maybe 5 or 6 minutes worth. There's actually 15 minutes worth of footage up there on Xbox's site. So, Brad, I'm going to start with you since you're Mr. Starfield. Did it deliver everything you hoped it would be?
Oh, dude, like you get to make bases and you get to customize your ship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we just kept sitting there and we're like, oh, that's something I'd like. Oh, that's something Brett would like. That's something Brett would like. I think we decided that this is Brett the Experience, pretty much.
Dad.
Yeah, I feel for me it's. I mean, obviously we can't say that it was worth the hype because the game hasn't come out yet.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll bring out the elephant in the room out of the discourse that's been going on today. And by the way, it happened during our stream because I actually agree with it. The whole No Man's Sky comparison.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, when I watched the game, I'm like, this is looking at it. I'm like, oh, I think this is what I wanted No Man's Sky to be. And obviously, we haven't played it. And by the way, the No Man's Sky stuff is like that's what we want Star Citizen, but Star Citizen isn't nothing. I don't even know. It's not a game.
It's not a game, technically. Yeah.
So, when we saw this, it had a lot of the things that I feel like are pivotal to this type of genre when it comes to space. We got the exploration, we got a story, we got shipbuilding. We can fly those ships.
Ship combat,
we got combat. We got Bethesda. Honestly, the only thing that was underwhelming to me is the shooting mechanics.
Yeah, everybody seems to say that.
Yeah, they didn't look that good. But everything else looked really good. By the way, for people that may be underwhelmed by the graphics, obviously this game isn't going to be the most highly graphical game in the world because just the nature of the type of game it is, and it's Bethesda. Watch it in 4K in YouTube because that stream did not do those graphics any justice. I feel like it was a lot better when you see it on 4K YouTube video. But yeah, I feel like it's a game. Before today, we literally knew nothing other than just those screenshots and concept art, and and yeah, they got dinosaur looking things. They got people. They got cities, and even like a cyberpunk looking kind of thing too. So I'm intrigued. I can't say it's lived up to the hype because I haven't played it, but I'm more intrigued. I'm more satisfied by what I saw than dissatisfied.
Yeah, I mean that I gotta say a couple of things here, right? So I covered this event for Tom's Guide. I saw the game play. I wrote my little blurb on it because I was doing the live blog. Then I did a news post on it. Never once did I think No Man's Sky. Not even once. Never even went through my head. I was just like, oh shit, Fallout in space. I was like, this is a Bethesda game. It's like the Bethesda-iest of Bethesda games. And that's a good thing. So I was on a fence about this game because I was like, I don't know. I'm sold. Give me this shit. This looks fucking legit. But I will say this, though. The No Man's Sky comparisons, they fucking triggered me, man. Because what I heard in my head was the equivalent of, green grass. This is like Breath of the Wild. I'm like, are we that simplistic? Hey, the game's in space. It's No Man's Sky. It's like, come on. We can't get a little bit deeper here. But I will say, let me finish. But I will say this though, because I will admit I'm comparing it to my No Man's Sky experience, which is when the game launched. You compare that game to what Starfield is. That ain't the same deal, but obviously No Man's Sky has evolved and stuff. So I saw the stupid video that IGN did. Like I get it, but at the same time, how far are we gonna take this? You know what I'm saying? Well, are we gonna say Mass Effect is a ripping off of it too? Like, well, how far are we going here?
Tony.
I mean, the comparison is valid because it's essentially matches a lot of the rigmarole of what No Man's Sky eventually became. Base customization, the whole uniforms, all the different races, all the things that eventually mining, all the things that eventually No Man's Sky got their hands on. It doesn't have the multiplayer thing. That at least multiplayer, the No Man's Sky.
Yeah, but No Man's Sky doesn't have cities and shit.
No, it doesn't. It does because it's a civilization in progress of being built. So and
everything is small.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, like I said a few times, man, I got some Mass Effect vibes from it. I think what I'm pulling from that whole thing is I think everybody sees a little bit of something else in this game. And I think it's just because this game is trying to be and appears to be doing everything.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because I said that to somebody. They said they listed off all the mechanics that are like supposedly only No Man's Sky. I'm like, you just named game mechanics that are in like 100 million games. We got to come again. I would just like a little bit of a deeper discourse here than just No Man's Sky. It's like, come on, man, we can't do any better than this.
But I also think if you think about it, it took No Man's Sky to crash and burn not crash and burn, but at least fail and then recover from it. From essentially every single other game is going to essentially try to do something similar. So yes, obviously the comparison is going to be there.
Yeah, no, I understand it. I get it. I just think it's dumb. So that's my thought on it. Go ahead, Carlos.
Well, I mean, I think it's dumb if people say that this game is directly, reflected off of ripped off of No Man's Sky. Could there be, different things that it could, subtle inspirations? Like, I don't know if I don't think this is going to be procedurally oriented with the planets.
I don't think so. No,
but they have a shitload of planets in this one. Over 1,000 is what Todd Howard said. So
he said 10. Didn't he say 10 systems?
He said 100 systems and 1,000 planets. That's what he said. And that makes me think of Mass Effect, the first one. Right? Remember, we had a ton of planets, but they're all the same shitty planet, basically just different colors. So I'm thinking, I'm afraid that's what's going to happen. But again, I didn't think No Man's Sky. It's just like the first thing I thought was like, oh, kind of like Mass Effect, I guess. I need to see that claim, to be honest. Because I'm like, I don't know if you could pull that off exactly. Those planets are just like super fucking generic, But I think we can't say they're not procedurally generated,
No, they're not procedure generated. I mean, here's the thing. Like, the game industry is always pulling from each other. So why, if AAA company does No Man's Sky, what's the big deal?
Yeah, no, there isn't a big deal. It's just I wish we would get a little bit better comparisons here.
What do you mean? Like, what do you mean by a little bit better comparison?
Like compared to Fallout, or compared to the Outer Worlds? How about that? Compared to the Outer Worlds, why not do that instead?
But how is this not a fair comparison?
I'm saying it's a boring comparison because it's so predictable. That's why.
I mean, it is the closest. It is fairly, to be fair.
It's a zeitgeist game. Let's just be honest.
I mean, it's the fairest comparison to it because of the vastness of it. The only difference that No Man's Sky is missing is that they don't have the narrative portion of it. That's the one thing that Bethesda does very well. So if you were to take the massive, the huge space that No Man's Sky did, and essentially create a narrative that between all the different planets and your different journeys, that's definitely a big difference.
Yeah, but what about the gameplay? Like this plays and looks like a Bethesda game. It doesn't look and play like No Man's Sky.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Chris.
So I did in the beginning when I first saw it, like the first part, I called it No Man's Fallout. So it's like, it's got a little bit of all of those. But what more impressed me was the second half when they talked about the customizations, like the ship and the base stuff. Then I got excited. The only thing I didn't like from what I saw was the frame rates on the combat. Like that, I was like, oh, it looks a little janky. I don't know. But then I didn't see the 4K 15-minute footage. I just saw what we were watching on the Xbox feed. So it didn't look so good. But the other stuff looked really good. I was like, wow. I got excited. Then Brett got me hyped up. It's like, hey, Chris, what if you could put a saucer and 2 nacelles on there? And I'm like, wait. Don't tease me.
There's nothing stopping you from making an enterprise, or at least a smaller enterprise. I don't think
that's right, CBS. You can't stop me. I'll make my own.
I wonder what the limit on spaceship size is on that.
Yeah, who knows?
And they didn't say.
Yeah, I like when Mighty Nurse said, "You're right. May as well compare this to Ratchet and Clank because they were doing the same shit 20 years ago. Going to different planets."
Different planets, but those different planets were all specific levels. I mean, I'm just saying, just from the massive space. It's like you had somebody that already sort of went down that road where they did make a bunch of procedurally generated universe with pretty much a bunch of infinite possibilities. But obviously, those planets are just they're not authored planets.
Yeah. Anyway, go on.
And this is more Fallout than anything.
Yeah.
Oh. Wait, I heard mumbling.
I heard mumbling. Who
was that? Brett?
Yeah. That
was Brett.
Oh, I mumble under my breath sometimes. That just happens. No, I think for me the comparison ended at the mining. To be real honest, like being one of the people that actually played some of the game, like. No, it doesn't remind me of the same thing at all. I gotta be honest. I hate to be hater on you guys, and I hate to actually agree with Tony, but
you hate agreeing with Tony. What?
No, it's just I feel like I'm on the opposite side of the fence here, and I'm like, I don't want to throw shade at you guys, but at the same time, I have to agree with his assessment.
So what's the
only guy. I'm the only one that's saying that the comparison is valid. By the way,
I mean that's
Manny,
fair.
I am there with you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, throw the shade. Brett, throw the shade. Throw the shade.
Oh, and by the way, Brian, Chris, what other game did we compare it to? Also,
well, we said. What didn't we say? Mass Effect or something?
No, Elite Dangerous.
Oh, Elite Dangerous.
That's another one, right?
Oh, because I said, Brian should be here. Yeah.
Okay.
We're talking about that.
So, Brett, finish your thought, and then we'll let Brian say his thoughts.
So here's my shade. I get that the game has spaceships. I do. I get it. But like, there's a whole other part to this game. There's two whole other parts. There's the crafting, or the kind of building, which kind of looks a little like No Man's Sky. But then you have the big customizable ships, and that's a whole different thing. But really the key here is, man, like, this is a narrative story involving other players, locations, cities, things like that. All things that No Man's Sky never had, right? Like, you could possibly find this weird kind of random generated base with people who wouldn't talk to you and who wouldn't care. But, like, this is an actual, like, you'll be able to pick side quests and dig through and parse apart all of these.
But no one's saying this is a 1-for-1.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, Starfield.
Some people on Twitter are, you know.
Starfield is light years ahead.
In the sense that this looks like a story game, and it has spaceships. Not that this is a
spaceship game with story. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Will I get my launching probes and like I can orbit a planet and get my sweeping music?
No, you're gonna get what's his face? What's the who does the music for Star Trek?
Jerry Goldsmith.
Jerry Goldsmith type music. They even had that running in there too.
I know Mako. I got a Mako lunch.
Oh no, Mako.
Well, I'm sure they'll have a Mako. Maybe there'll be one. You have a drop ship.
That'll be DLC.
I do like you can have like a crew and stuff. It's not just you and the ship. It's kind of like
Mass Effect.
Right? Yeah. You hire a crew, or I don't know how the mechanics work. I think they said you hire a crew and you customize your ship, and then you can have people manning it. And I don't know how the economics of Starfield works. We'll see how that plays out. I didn't hear him talk about that.
Like, would it be a crew of like random people that you hire, or would it also be like a mixture of people that you've met along the way?
Well, they did say people you met along the way. So I wonder if there's somehow like loyalty kind of missions. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be something to take from.
I'll be like, yo, man, I had sex with half my crew.
You're hired.
You're hired.
Is that even a thing in the Fallout games?
Sex, yeah, banging.
Is it really?
Oh yeah.
With the other here, okay. All right.
Brian.
Banging.
Brian, explain to us why all these games are ripping off Elite Dangerous.
Very funny. Some nice framing there, Tony. But yeah, I'm in total agreement with Manny here. Like, I was watching the whole thing, and it's like, this mechanically seems very similar to No Man's Sky. And again, we're not saying it is the same. We're saying that No Man's Sky is possibly the closest mechanically you can get to Starfield at this point in time, unless there's anything else that anyone else knows about. But to me,
Outer Worlds.
Which
was literally Fallout in space, which is what this is supposed to be. So hold on. So just because it has mining in space makes it No Man's Sky like?
It has mining in space. It has landing on other planets. It has base building. It has ship building, I guess you want to call it that. Crafting, resource management. That's very similar.
Aren't those a lot of those in Elite Dangerous too, though? Like, we've seen these mechanics in these other games
definitely
before.
But not to the extent where the shipbuilding affects your actual appearance of the ship, like in No Man's Sky and Starfield. Like,
wait, since when does No Man's Sky let you build ships?
The later ones,
updates.
Mm-hmm.
I played it pretty recently. I may have to go back and check that out, but last I checked, you can't.
Well, at some point,
I could swear you could build ships in that. Yeah.
You can build a space station in that game.
this is what Manny and I are talking about. It's like they made tons of updates, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
Like I thought, oh, cool idea, but for the most part, the ships look like ass. So I'm like, I don't care. So yeah, like it is just mechanically very similar to it. So hence we're like, okay, it's very similar to it.
I feel like it's like a situation where it's like, okay, somebody already did it. You know, it wasn't very what you got wasn't so cool. So you have a big company look at it, like, all right, let's do what they did, but better. We have the resources, we have the people. Come on, that game was made by what, 5 dudes?
Yeah, all those. I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say, but yeah, it was made by a small team for sure.
It was made by a very small team. Now, like, what if that small team had the resources of a Bethesda?
They probably would have. Yeah, they probably would have released the game they wanted on launch. You know,
exactly. They probably would have released the game that they launched, and it would have had the things that they wanted. So I feel like it's if you took what No Man's Sky did and then polished it to a nice sheen with a nice big studio. That's all. I mean, what is there to be offended by here?
No, it's just again I've said this, and I'll just say it again.
I
don't like the simplicity of it. It's just like the Breath of the Sky, Breath of the Wild nonsense.
It seems like you're more offended that it's being compared to an independent game when it doesn't really matter.
No, but it has nothing to do with independent games. It's the simplicity of the things, like, because No Man's Sky is the biggest one of these games, which it obviously is. That's the first thing we go to when we could make better comparisons. To what it, you know what I'm saying? But nobody knows what the Outer Worlds is, so we're not going to compare it to that. You know,
I know what Outer Worlds is.
You know, and I know it, but vast majority of people, if you go to 10 people and you say No Man's Sky, they're going to know that.
But even Outer Worlds can't even compare to what No Man's Sky or what this game was doing.
No, it's obviously smaller scale, but like the core of it. Again, when I saw this,
to be honest, the Outer Worlds is what you expect a Bethesda, space game to be.
Yeah, but if you think about it, this game's just expanding on what Fallout.
Like that tonight?
Do we?
I think we have a question that's talking about just what we're talking about.
Maybe we do. I'll have to check because I combined a bunch of questions that were all similar. But yeah, other than the silly comparisons, the game was cool. I hopefully we'll see more. Now they said the early part of the year or the first half of the year. So when we expected, because they said, and we'll talk about this later, that with all the games they showed were coming in the next 12 months, this game included, right? So it's going to have to come before next July, I guess.
Pretty much June.
What I got.
What happened, Brian?
Yeah. Carlson and I just say yes.
Okay, yeah. So it was like, okay, so the first half of the year, let's just say that. First half of 2023. So hopefully we'll get a little bit more, We saw our boy Todd Howard show up as usual,
One of the things
can't not be on the stage.
One of the things that I found interesting is if they plan to make it in before the end of the fiscal year, then they'll do it before April, if I'm not mistaken. As Chris just March, okay, yeah. So I think, again, most companies tend to want to squeeze it in before the end of the fiscal year, so possibly in that time frame. But then again, as we know, release dates are just kind of like vaporware these days. They just kind of exist and don't exist at the same time.
This is a Schrodinger's cat.
Yes. Also, my thoughts on Starfield. I thought, again, I was quite bored until they talked about building your own ship. Then I was like, okay, now you're talking my language, and it's like, so what can you do? Like, what are the limitations of shipbuilding? So after that, I was like, okay, you now have my attention, and I'm looking at it now, and I think this may be one of the most ambitious games out there.
I agree,
because I can't think of anything else. Maybe Star Citizen is ambitious, but then again, this is actually coming out, unlike Star Citizen, so there is that.
They had the luxury. Bethesda had the luxury to look at 2 different space games and be like, "All right, we'll just take this from this and take that from that, and get it done in half the time."
But then at the same time, I am really concerned about how ambitious it is, because most ambitious games don't tend to live up to what they do.
Cyberpunk.
And this is being exactly
No Man's Sky.
And plus, this is being made by Bethesda of all people, and they have a habit of of standing there on stage making all these promises, saying all these things, and then day one it's just falls over. So hence I'm just kind of like, if they can deliver on what they've said, then that's amazing. However, I am really concerned that they won't, purely because they have a really bad track record of doing so, and that annoys me.
Yeah, this is Bethesda. We got to be a little careful here. But yeah, well, I guess we'll see. But I guess it's no surprise that this was like what ended off the show and stuff. And no surprise that the shitstorm that happened on Twitter afterwards, because that's what happens to every exclusive game. It doesn't matter what platform it is, Or
also,
you go ahead.
Also, just to mention, is this coming out for the Xbox One consoles? Does anybody know?
I have no idea. That's a good question.
Because if it does, then I truly am skeptical.
Yeah, you should be.
Because this game looks extremely ambitious to be in that freaking piece of plastic.
Yeah, if it's on Xbox One, that's a problem.
It's funny. There's this other game that's also for some reason skipping out the previous generation, but being put on a Switch, which makes absolutely no sense. But
Oh wait, which one?
Which one?
It's just one of the ones in the PlayStation. In the PlayStation feature, it was like that one where it looks like a book where the character jumps out of the book. That thing's it's exclusive to the new consoles. It's actually going to be on the new consoles. It's going to be on Xbox and PlayStation, but then it's going to be on the Switch.
Oh, on the Switch, but not on the
But
previous.
not on the 4 or the 1, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's like, what? So are you trying to say that it's not? It either can't be handled by the other consoles, but why is it on the Switch?
Oh, you know what? You know why they don't think it's worth porting that shit over to the older consoles.
Oh no, yeah, they're closing the door and they're keeping it simple, which they should.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. By the way, this is from Wikipedia, so take it how you will. But it says it's only coming out to PC and Xbox Series X and S. So it's skipping the one, which makes sense. Again, if what they're trying to do is real, you can't have it on an old dusty ass console.
But I mean, here's the thing: they still don't remember. If you still have a Game Pass, you should be able to run it streaming.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. So
they didn't fully close the door.
Exactly, and that's we talk about. That's smart that they do that. You're really not leaving anybody behind that way. All right. So, anything else about Starfield we want to say before we move on?
I'm curious if they're because they didn't talk about it, at least from what I heard, is if they have any type of multiplayer, if it's solely going to be just a single player narrative experience. I'd be curious to hear more about that, because they didn't touch in any of that detail. Like, for example, you build your ship. You go into space and you get into a what do you call those? A ship battle. And I'm curious. It seems like it would be a place where a lot of developers would put in multiplayer, where you do ship battles and stuff like that. Be interesting.
I would lose all interest if it's multiplayer instantly. So I hope they don't.
I mean, it could be co-op. I don't know.
Yeah. Yes, that's okay, Tony. I'll have more interest for you.
There you go. Yeah, I'll offload my interest to you, sir.
Here's what I want to see, and I think they could actually do, instead of making it like a big multiplayer game. In all the Bethesda games, you're allowed to have a follower, right? It would be cool if either your friend could bring a player into the game, like just their customization, or they could play one of your guest characters.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, Logic Win says, given how ambitious the game is, multiplayer would probably complicate it. I kind of agree with that.
Multiplayer complicates everything.
Everything, even simple games, exactly. So,
like Halo Infinite,
dude. No. Hey, by the way, we didn't hear nothing about no Halo today.
Nothing. Oh yeah. I don't think that didn't pass me by, man. That was no hype for season 2 or season 3, whichever one we're on.
The silence was deafening, man. All right.
Also,
go ahead.
one thing I noticed, the people, there's
people.
like the Citadel, the Citadel looking city in Starfield. When they were talking to them, it's like very Brotherhood type people in that place.
Yeah.
You're not gonna leave until you die. People don't leave until this clan until they die, and I'm like, we got to kill pirates, quote unquote pirates. Yeah, very Brotherhood.
Yeah. Again, that scene was like, oh, this is hardcore Bethesda right now. The DNA's in there, man. Even with the kind of stiff character animations, it's all
that was
still there.
bad.
The facial animation, like, yeah, this is Bethesda as fuck.
Hey, it's better though. The faces look so much better.
Oh yeah, they are better. But
you said that about the last Fallout game. It did. Yes, it was marginally better, but compared to a lot of the other things out there,
Dude, faces
I always
were
say,
never the strong point.
Oh no, they look quite. Like the previous Fallout was a big step from the previous one, but then compared to what was out on the market at the time, But I always say that when you go into Bethesda games, you're not really looking for a looker. It's not. It's going to be. You can do everything you can under the sun, but it's not going to be something on the levels of even how that Guardians of the Galaxy game looks.
Oh yeah, for obvious reasons.
Obvious reasons.
Yeah. Well, the deal is you get 10,000 NPCs. They just all kind of look a little retarded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even your main characters got a little bit of a cross-eyed look to it.
Yeah. By the way, I do want to touch on the gun combat because I agree that's another kind of failing on Bethesda games. They're not very compelling combat wise. But Carlos, I don't know if you felt this. As soon as it happened, I'm like, yo, they got VATS in this motherfucker.
Oh, we talked about it during the stream.
Like they got VATS. That's the first thing I thought. Because it would be cool if they have some kind of pausing mechanic or whatever. So you could.
Yeah, I said that as well. I said that as soon as I saw it.
Let me ask you, why did it didn't look like nothing stood out to me, good or bad? What makes it look just kind of to you guys?
No, I'm just going with the general consensus. It's always been like that. All the combat has always been in those games.
Well, I know. Here's my question though. Since they're part of a big team now, do you think they took some resources to help with their shooter mechanics?
Doesn't look like it based on that trailer. Doesn't look like it at all.
For me, it's really tough to tell shooter mechanics until you get it in your hand.
Yeah, no, you could kind of tell. Like you could kind of tell.
Yeah, it felt like. So here's the thing with me and shooting mechanics in the Fallout games. It's this in first person, and third person is really bad. But in first person, it's extremely stiff. And when I saw that trailer, it felt like just looking at it, you can feel that stiffness in the shooting mechanics. I mean, it's probably improved significantly from Fallout 4, and Fallout 76, but man, when you experience games like Destiny and those types of games, it's really it's really hard to like take it serious when mechanics aren't as even close to the same stratosphere as some of the best. Especially in a game.
It's definitely not going to be a Destiny, but I'll be honest, like that level of shooting mechanics, like it's cool and it's good. Only if you're like dropping 1 million bullets into damage sponges, though. Like, I think that you'll definitely fight things in this, but Bethesda games, combat is never the biggest thing.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
and that's why that's where VATS shines, because VATS it adds more like a strategic aspect to the shooting mechanics.
VATS makes it a lot better. Yeah.
I hope and I wish that they had something like that. And if they didn't, I really hope that they tap some outside talent to come in and help them with the shooting. But even if they didn't, I played a spellcaster and then archer in Elder Scrolls games before. You can do it. There's a lot of side strafing involved. But it doesn't feel. And I don't even go towards Destiny. I go to Rage. Like that game was just beautiful.
Well, that wasn't the Bethesda, the mainline Bethesda team. That was someone else.
That was id, wasn't it?
That was it, right?
Yeah, that was id.
Yeah, that was id.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Microsoft now owns.
Comparing it to Destiny, that's not a Bethesda team either.
Yeah, no, he's just saying in terms of mechanic. Like when you think of really solid shooting mechanics, Destiny's probably the first game that comes to mind. You know,
really, and that's what I'm saying. For me, it's Rage. Destiny felt good, but not like holy shit. This is it wasn't like the first time I picked up Halo.
Well, regardless of which is on the top, we still have the evidence from a Bethesda team to release a game with bad shooting mechanics, a la Fallout, and have a studio within the same parent company that makes a great mechanic like Rage or like a Doom Eternal.
Or Wolfenstein.
Yeah, or Wolfenstein as well.
Yeah, so that's a good point. No, I'm and I kind of want to ask you guys, like, I'll just ask you as an official question. Do you think that they did or will tap any outside talent for the combat in this game?
No.
Being a bigger part?
No. I think it's going to be all internal Bethesda.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards with Tony, because I mean it would have been cool if they would have done even actually, you know what I would have preferred? They would have worked with someone else on the facial recognition mechanics on the character models, and it still looks like it's a small evolution of what Bethesda has been doing.
Yeah, because how long? I'm sorry, how long has Microsoft owned Bethesda now? Like officially?
Like a couple of months, maybe.
Yeah, and this game has been in development for years. They're not going to bring in other guys kind of in the last minute. You know what I'm saying? To revamp the combat or anything.
That's a good point. I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah, so
you win this round, Tony.
There you go, man.
But even so, Bethesda does still have id Software underneath there. They could literally make the call over to id, be like, "Yo, how do we make this good?"
Yeah, they could have done that, you know. But
well, they should have called up the guys at Wolfenstein and been like, "Okay, you guys can't make a story that doesn't suck. We can't make combat that doesn't suck. When our powers combine, we're gonna make an awesome game.
We're gonna make Captain Planet."
Yeah. Or you'll make a game with a bad story and bad shooting mechanics.
Yeah, because I'll be honest, like, I'm not sure there's a whole lot of future for Wolfenstein right now.
Yeah, that last one was kind of iffy.
Yeah,
you know,
dude, it was so bad it damn near killed the franchise. It possibly did kill the franchise,
which is wild because the one before that, the one that revamped the franchise, was fucking amazing. You know,
everybody loved it. Yeah. But like. It wasn't just like bad writing; it was also the tone, right? Like now you can't deal with Nazis and any kind of like not extremely black. Like I'm not saying like Nazis are good or anything like that, but I'm just saying like you can't deal with anything other than the current way that you deal with Nazis, and shit's just gotten too political, I guess.
Yeah, we're not going to go down that road.
You can't separate Nazis from neo-Nazis anymore.
Yeah, that's a whole other story right there. Anyway, let us move on. More stuff about what happened. Unless you guys have any more thoughts about Starfield.
It's a game.
All right, there you go.
It's in the game.
It's in the game.
Put that on the box, Manny.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we got Ace Ali. He goes, how should Xbox Series X owners specifically feel after today's Xbox showcase? Forking over for the new high-end console, and today you don't see any Fable, Avowed, Hellblade 2, or Perfect Dark. Kojima's project is merely announced and not detailed whatsoever, and Starfield looks bland as anything running at a really choppy frame rate with no release date to boot. Is it justified for early adopters to feel like they've just been pacified endlessly while waiting in vain for something really good to arrive? Or should they be content to wait until 2024, 2025, or 2026 because this is what they signed up for, by which time a newer, better console will likely be imminent? And Kishak says he feels indifferent about the show, which is worse than hating it.
Oh, damn.
Well,
by the way, before we answer, sorry, Chris, before we answer the question, gotta give a huge shout out to Pig Dan for the bits.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
All right. So he says, is this show good enough to pacify Xbox fans? Was this enough? Is this show enough to justify the $500 to spend on a console? Go ahead, Chris.
Here's the thing. I didn't feel like this was really an Xbox show. This was like the Game Pass show, right? Yeah. This was like everything day one Game Pass, like peddling Game Pass hard. Even some of the games had PC Game Pass. They didn't even say Xbox, right? So this was really the Game Pass show. This was really to sell you on the service, not so much the system.
Can't you say that about the last three big Xbox shows, though?
Yes,
They've all
yes,
been
they're not.
Xbox
It's
Game
not
Pass showcases.
right.
Yeah,
I mean,
most
they
part, yeah.
they keep labeling it Xbox because I guess that's a zeitgeist thing, right? You can't call it the Game Pass show. Everybody will go, "What the fuck is that?" You called it, it's the Xbox showcase, but really, it's like everything was pushing Game Pass. You're pushing people towards Game Pass. It's like, don't worry, you don't have an Xbox, don't worry, PC Game Pass, right? And then he, I will agree with him. Like, I thought they would talk about Fable. I thought they would talk about Perfect Dark, considering they announced those games like years ago, and they didn't even mention them. They didn't mention Halo Infinite at all. I was like, that's weird. So yeah, I mean that's and if those were the things you're waiting for, like their other key titles, and it's like, what the fuck is this? Then yeah, you're gonna be pissed off that you're just like, oh, we got Hollow Knight Silk Song got more time than fucking Fable or Halo,
yeah. Just because of the fact it showed up. What happened, Brett?
Oh, I gotta kind of, be a bitch here about this. Like, why are you waiting? Like, did you really buy an Xbox at release for Fable? Like, what made you think that Fable would be even in the cards right now, man? Like,
me?
yeah, Kishak.
Oh,
Like, I understand your frustration, but you can't crucify a system for every game it doesn't have that it's said it's working on. Like, dude, Cyberpunk was in for 10 years, and it still came out sucking. Unfortunately, games announce way too fucking early now. So since we heard about it, we're not going to hear about it again for like 5 years from the first announcement, right? So I think your real expectations they're a little bit unrealistic, man. And don't get me wrong, I get hyped for these games too. But I don't know why you thought that these were going to be games that you needed to be an early adopter for. That being said, I feel like they put out a pretty good show. I think I said on the podcast, like, I rate that a good solid 7, man. There's a fair amount of games coming out. They seem to be really toeing the line on, like, high-end AA games, low-end AAA games. Like, and that kind of seems to be... It's an approach I don't necessarily mind because I think we've gotten way too careful with games. So I think playing a little fast and loose and seeing what sticks isn't a bad strategy. And there's some games in there that I'm actually genuinely excited about. So, like, I saw a bunch of new games and a bunch of new games that I didn't know about. And looking at the lineup, you're like, oh shit, this thing looks like it might have games. So, like, I feel like this is we're kind of just starting to breach the dam on things that have been in development. And I gotta say, looks like there's a lot of it. Like, I'm not necessarily disappointed in the amount of stuff that they showed. Not all of it's for me. Some of it's not as high quality as I'd like. I have issues with just about everything that they've shown in little nitpicky ways, but for the most part, like, I didn't think it was bad, and especially if you're like for a Microsoft conference, that was pretty good, man. That was better we've got in a minute.
Well, I felt like the conference was really good, but I do see that perspective as well because, like Chris mentioned, a lot of these games were third-party games, AA games, and they really don't have anything to do with Microsoft other than the fact that Microsoft is sort of getting some exclusivity with the games, either with Game Pass or with the console launch exclusivity, and we were kind of promised this, one day the levee's gonna break. We're still waiting for the levee to break for the past couple of years. Hellblade 2, we saw it last year, and we have yet to see what the hell happened to that game. Which is a pretty
good point.
Fable, we saw a trailer, and obviously I said it since day one. This game ain't coming out for the next several years. Especially considering that the Initiative is the one taking place, and we've seen what happened with the Initiative and all the speculation going on with that studio. But yeah, I see the point, and that's the reason why I couldn't. Objectively, this conference was really good because there's a lot of games that were announced, a lot of stuff for different types of people, but that Xbox DNA that we kind of hope and expect them to have, that gusto with all the games, it kind of, especially the top tier games, I feel like we're a little bit missing.
Yeah.
You know, we still, there's that Playground RPG game we still haven't seen from, and that they announced. Even the Kojima announcement was like, yo, what up? I'm working with Xbox. Peace out.
Yeah.
Yo,
An announcement of an announcement.
Can we just call a spade and say that they didn't show anything on the level of a first-person Sony game, and that's kind of the problem, other than Starfield?
I was about to say, yeah, Starfield kind of counts.
Starfield, yeah, but Starfield,
Yes.
I feel is the
Starfield is the actual AAA game, and the other games were just like they keep the roof up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but and Brett, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's games that were announced today that I'm like, man, I want to check this out. Like what is that? The So High, that freaking Rick and Morty game.
Oh,
High on Life.
Yeah, So High and Cyborg Tenchu.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot the name of that. The one with the ninja.
So those games, I'm like,
but there's nothing impressive like a Spider-Man in here, man. Other than again,
Starfield,
and I think the problem with that is everybody knew it was going to be there, so there wasn't like a big. At this point, everybody's like, you have Starfield and what's another big one?
Forza. I guess you can say.
Yeah, Forza Motorsport.
You know,
that was another big one they showed, so we can't really ignore that.
Yeah.
You know.
But you know, we're the type of crowd that we are.
Yeah, let's be real. Yeah.
Brian is probably the closest to someone that might give it a shot, but yeah, I mean, I do see the point that is being made, because I do want to get excited, and I feel like my Xbox Series X purchase hasn't been justified yet. And by the way, the PS5 purchase hasn't been justified yet.
Let's just be real here, you know. Oh, by the way, Redfall. Does the Redfall count as a AAA?
That's like the Back for Blood. Left
Yeah,
for Dead
like double A, I guess. Yeah.
By the way, and I want to mention, you know, we talked about it during the show. It's like it starts all badass. It's like all horror and stuff, and then it's like, oh shit, the suspense, and then suddenly it's like, and we got a cute little robot. And then all right, man, you just ruined the mood.
The funny thing is, when I was watching that, the mood shift, I'm like, oh, it turned into a Marvel movie now. You know, it's like, here we go with the jokes. You know, as for the show itself, I thought it was good. You know, I would give it a solid 6 out of 10. You know,
we said about a 7.
Yeah, I would give it a 6.
Yeah, 7.
7 is a little too generous for my taste. Because a lot of indie games I didn't really care about. As a matter of fact, I think I said on Twitter, like the only thing I really cared about were even though I've played all these games already. Persona coming to Xbox, that's very exciting. And this is the first time, correct me if I'm wrong here, the Persona 4 Golden, not regular Persona 4, but Golden, on a console. And it came to Xbox first. Not on PlayStation. Very interesting. You know, because
Persona 4 in general.
No. Golden. I said Golden. That's why I'm being very specific with that, because Persona 4 was on PlayStation 2, obviously, but Persona 4. So I'm like, you would have thought it would have came on PlayStation first. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but to be honest, it's not. To be honest, I don't see this as a big deal for one reason. They didn't do any sort of improvement. They still look like fucking PlayStation 2 games.
Yeah, or PSP games or
PSP games.
Yeah, but again, just the fact that they're there is pretty big. Will the Xbox fans like it? Who knows? We shall see. Because they don't typically like. Let's just be honest. They don't typically like JRPGs.
Yeah,
you know?
to be honest,
we'll never see it coming.
To be honest,
you know?
it just looked like it looked like the and they also obviously lumped the two most Japanese, like the few most Japanese things in one little section, right?
Yeah.
They Kojima, then
and
Persona,
the Bandai Namco one, right?
Bandai Namco thing, yeah. But it's like really,
or the Ninja Theory game.
They did the not Onimushu, the not Tenshu, and I did want to point out, how do you guys feel about when they said they're making a strong commitment to import more Japanese games?
Well, I guess that was it, right? Yeah, I mean, that's what. Here's the thing: it was good enough for Xbox.
By the way, when Phil, so that this segment happened when Phil was talking, and I'm like, he was building it up, and I'm like, oh, don't tell me they're gonna do Lost Odyssey 2, because that's how I don't know why, but I felt like the way he was building it up, I was like, Persona. I mean, I fucking love Persona, but I already played those.
You know what I was hoping for? Because I just would love, even though Twitter already exploded anyway. Imagine if it said Final Fantasy 16 coming to Xbox. That would have been fucking crazy. You know what that would have been like, Carlos? Remember when they announced Final Fantasy 13 to Xbox? Motherfuckers were crying and shit. The betrayal.
Oh, yeah,
Final Fantasy has always been a PlayStation franchise. Like, no, it hasn't.
What about Diablo? We were trying to talk about.
Oh yeah, Diablo happened. That's right.
Do you think it's going to be Xbox exclusive, Xbox PC exclusive? Because we're talking about, like, they didn't say it, but they're kind of in the middle of a merger, so we don't know if they can.
Yeah, because it didn't say it was going to be Game Pass. It didn't say it was going to come out day one on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Actually,
I'm going to say this with a lot of those games that have already been in development and have already been sort of announced for everything. I think it's going to be on. It's already going to be. They're not going to close the door yet. Since this thing hasn't been finalized yet, they're not going to close the door on a Diablo until the following Diablo game.
Yeah, and we got we
also real quickly. When the game was announced in BlizzCon 2019, it was announced for the consoles as well. So PlayStation, Xbox, PC. So
they're not gonna close the door if it's already been announced and you already know what's coming and it's already been said what it's going to be on. It's going to stay on whatever it is. The question is not the ones that are coming now; it's the ones that are coming later.
Yeah, exactly.
What's going to happen to the games after the merger happens, after all that stuff? What is their tune going to sound like? And I suspect it's going to be the door is closed.
Yeah,
for a lot of those titles.
Yeah. No, I agree with Manny. What do you think? Do you think it's going to be on Game Pass?
Oh yeah.
What?
Oh, absolutely.
No.
Really? You don't think Diablo's going to be on Game Pass?
No, because well, actually, it depends on when it comes out. If it comes, because it says 2023.
Yeah,
and it's supposed to be within 12 months. So if it comes out like in January or something like that, the deal between Microsoft and Blizzard is still not going to be set in stone. So we don't know. But if it comes out, for example, in June of next year, then I would say it's very, very plausible.
Yeah, I think it's going to be on Game Pass eventually, one way or another.
Oh yeah, for sure. Same thing with Overwatch. Overwatch was announced.
Overwatch too. Gary must have been very excited about that. And
it's free to play, by the way. So it's
it's on everything.
The reason I ask is if that's one of those games. It's a high profile enough game that when you say like, it's coming out on PlayStation and Game Pass day one, like that's $70 versus nothing or 15 depending on how you look at it. It's a tough choice.
It also depends on where your buddies play, because these are multiplayer games that a lot of people play with each other on for years and years, and like Adam has his boys. I gotta get on my Dutch and play with the squad and play the Giz and leave Carlos hanging. And, so people have their legacy systems where they normally play with their friends, and sometimes that's the biggest factor to decide.
I'll say this: if I didn't have an Xbox and I were paying $70 for games that are free on the other side, I'm not going to be a happy guy.
Oh, Brett. By the way, I'm conflicted as fuck right now because it's going to end up I'm going to pay for it, but the Shredder's Revenge is going to be on Game Pass.
Yeah, so why are you buying it?
Well, because I'm pretty sure the fellas are going to play it on PlayStation.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because. Well, I'm gonna buy it on PlayStation for the same reason. Let's just say that,
What? Yeah. Why don't we just play it on the? We all have access to Xbox or PC. Why are we not going to play?
Manny's not going to play that shit on no PC.
Yeah, no. Why am I going to play on my PC?
Yeah.
Yo, man, no man left behind. No Man's Sky.
Yeah, exactly. No, I did. Yeah, Manny's the holdout. All right, fine. For you, Manny. For you.
Oh, jeez. Wow. What is it, the fifth wheel or something like that?
The titles.
The titles.
All right.
Heaven forbid you want to support the actual company. I don't know.
Oh. Excuse me.
That's opening a can of worms.
I know.
All right, man. Let's moving on here. We still got a bunch of questions here. All right. Lego Bro. All right. Should Xbox have more events throughout the year to help out their messaging? Sony does a good job of communicating with the state of play events.
What? Sony does not. Sony doesn't. Sony did not communicate well. That's like
they just showed you a bunch of trailers. Is that communication?
No, I feel like
they
no one does it that
they
well.
showed you a bunch of trailers and told you to go to their fucking blog. Come on.
Yeah,
that's as little commitment as possible. That's almost as bad as Nintendo.
Yeah. So, like, do you think? Let me rephrase the question. Do you think they should have more shows like Do you think Xbox should have more shows like PlayStation and Nintendo?
Do you mean more shows or more shows in that style?
Oh, take your pick. I guess it doesn't matter.
They need to do their shows more like Microsoft. I can say that much.
Yeah, no, because basically, because Sony puts out like what 5 or 6 state of plays a year.
Garbage.
Yeah, and then Xbox just has one big event. You know.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, Nintendo barely pulls out a direct.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to agree with the consensus here. I think it'd be better if they just have one show instead of like because most of the time, you know, I realized the last state of play was okay, right? But most of the time they're fucking whack, you know, because they don't really have anything. Same thing, all the Nintendo's directs are basically boring, you know. So if we get a bunch of those Microsoft ones, yeah, that would, especially with Microsoft, they don't really have a lot to begin with.
It's kind of funny, like how like PlayStation is going with the old way of doing games, right? But Microsoft is the old way of doing conferences.
Yes.
Where they actually have people presenting, they actually have people playing, you know.
Well,
or you know,
can we really say that they're playing the games?
I don't know. Yeah, they're not playing the games on a stage.
But I see what you're saying. They're more like the E3 kind of model. This is
it's still sort of like an E3 presentation as opposed to the Sony one where it's just like a bunch of trailers and you know, and then they say go look at their blog or you know whatever.
And they had a lot of people over. I mean, there's a huge crowd for a lot of our friends that are in the industry were gathering together for the festivities.
Yeah. Shout out to Weapon X who's in the chat. Yeah, I'll read the DMs later, man. I've seen them, but I can't read them right now because I'm doing a show. You know.
Yo.
But yeah, I guess so. So do we all agree it's better to do one show a year than like a bunch of little shows?
Well, two would be cool.
Two's cool. Like like give you like
two. Yeah, just go with 2. Yeah.
There you go. Do your own show and then show up to the big show as well.
Yeah.
It's the big show.
Yeah, because Sony's like, we're not doing no big shows. We're doing our show, you know?
Yeah, no, show up to the Summer Game Fest or E3 or whatever.
But Nintendo's not doing that either, you know?
We're doing a state of play with nothing but VR games, and you're going to like it.
Yes, it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because remember, Nintendo was the first one that said, fuck E3, we're gone, you know? We're doing our own thing.
I know. Well, that just seems against Sony's whole motto, like this generation. They just seem to be very just withheld.
Well, the door is a lot more is not as open as it was with the previous regime.
But here's the thing: they're withheld, yet they're having more shows than Microsoft.
Yeah, they're having more shows than Microsoft, but it's not. A lot of it is just sort of vapor. It's almost like they're trying to look for things to fill in space. You know, weed out the to separate the wheat from the chaff. Take your best shots and put them together on one thing, and then maybe you can do your little other thing. But it seems like they don't know what to fill up the time with. So then you have a bunch of weak indie games that sit in between a lot of this stuff.
I wonder. Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I saw a lot of Microsoft games that were like low AAA, high AA. But like when you watch a Sony conference, man, it is like super high AAA game, indie game made by one person. Super high AAA game.
Dinosaur High.
It's like here's the thing. Like if you wanna, I would say if you take if like they used to a lot of the companies used to do this before. Like if you do have an indie game, it's an indie game that makes a more of an impact. Like a No Man's Sky, right? Hey, look, you can go explore the universe. That was probably the most high profile one, where it almost felt like it was like a full on game, like a full on AAA game, but made by 5 people. You put those big showstoppers inside of your show to get people excited. But I feel like a lot of times it feels like they don't want to, like, you have to at least put those sort of showstopper things in there. Granted, you can't put everything inside of one of these things, but that's okay. What you do is you get everybody excited with all the big stuff, And then what you do is you have, if you want to do your little blog thing, you can say, hey, you head over to the PlayStation blog for more of the things, or you put like what Microsoft used to do back in the day, literally all of their their pre-show is all the other games that they're not going to be showing on the main show.
Yeah. All right, moving on here. Another one from Lego Bro. Xbox announced a whole bunch of games in the last couple of years. Are most of them vaporware?
Well, I mean, I feel like a lot of the announcements were done, I feel, a little bit early, but again, they wanted to get people excited for, the acquisitions. If the acquisitions weren't so public, if the acquisitions weren't so public, there wouldn't have been the need to essentially start announcing all these games, beforehand. You know what I mean?
Also, they were really trying to push against the narrative of Xbox has no
There's
games.
no games. Yeah,
they knew it was going to take a while, so all they could say is "we're working on it," which is kind of what they did.
Yeah,
man, not a great option, but it was the card that they had, man. I guess.
But yeah, if you look at all the acquisitions that they had made, the one that they did the most recently is the one that's probably going to have the literally bear the most fruit, because they probably started before all the other guys did.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the games that I feel like are in trouble of that vaporware title are for sure Fable and what's it called, Perfect Dark. Those games, like they were just shown, and like it's like they've never been heard of again. And so we'll see what happens with those, but yeah, Halo is still going to be coming out, like the mainline games, all the Bethesda. There's no reason why not to believe Bethesda is going to release the games that they announced, because they have a good track record of releasing them, at least recently. And when they get Activision Blizzard, I mean, that's the factory right there. Those games, they're not going to stop making Call of Duties.
Yeah. All right. What do we have next? Jay Shep, who's been joining us tonight. All right. Starfield wasn't exactly what I was hoping for, but it appears to be a great game. Should Sony be working on a Western RPG equivalent to Starfield and Elder Scrolls for their fan bases as well? I never like when people go, oh, they have this. What does this company do to counter it? It doesn't need to be like that, and clearly, like, Sony fans haven't asked for this. They like their, cinematic Last of Us, Uncharted type of games, So I don't think they need to do that, because unless the fans are clamoring for it, and I haven't heard about it.
Skyrim sold gangbusters. Come on, Skyrim is one of the best-selling games on PlayStation.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm not hearing PlayStation fans go, we want Sony to do this equivalent game. I'm not hearing that.
You don't hear them saying, we want a highly polished open world AAA RPG? Because I've heard that shit.
I've never heard them say that. They like their cinematic games, So I don't think it needs to be a one-for-one thing. Just like, who's Sony going to buy now? Like, why does it always have to be equivalent like that? That's boring.
Sony doesn't just do cinematic games now, man. They do games like Spider-Man and shit like that. Like they're opening up their scale. It's not that they just do
Spider-Man cinematic as fuck though. Ed said PC. What are you talking about, dude?
Here's my point that I was gonna get to. It kind of really doesn't matter, because there is no other company that can make a Bethesda game. That's the whole point of paying $7 billion for Bethesda. To be real fucking honest, games have tried. Have you ever played a game that you would say is a good stand-in for Elder Scrolls? Because I haven't.
Yeah, I can't play. Again, if people are clamoring, if PlayStation fans are clamoring for this, please let me know. Maybe I'm just completely unaware of this.
I mean, it depends on how you view a Bethesda game, but I think they would absolutely love a medieval style. I mean. Style.
I'm not saying they wouldn't love it. I'm saying, have they been asking for it, and I'm unaware of it? Because if I've been aware of it, I will admit that freely right now.
I mean, I've been asking for it.
I know you have, Brett. I'm talking about like the vast majority of PlayStation guys. Like I think it would be fucking dope, but I haven't heard it from the community. Basically, all I hear from the community, we want more we want Last of Us multiplayer.
I've heard people say that that's the thing that they don't have, that they're missing. They don't have like a big,
that
open
I've
world
heard.
sandbox game like
I've heard
like
the
Fallout.
multiplayer angle. Yeah.
Sony's missing a lot of things.
I was about to say that Sony's missing a lot of things.
Yeah. Like it's quite a lot of things. I mean, they don't have. No, really, it is. Like if you look at like Sony back in the PS3 days, like they had a lot more diverse portfolio of games compared to now. Like they had like third-person shooters, they had racing games, all sorts. Now what they fucking have Last of Us again. They have God of War. They have the same walkie-talkie games that they've had like since last gen, and that's it.
Plus Spider-Man.
See,
walkie-talkie.
and that's the problem. They all can be said to be walkie-talkie or Gran Turismo, and that's it. It's like, okay, so where's SOCOM? Who knows? Where's Killzone? Who knows? Where's Resistance? Who knows? Where's Infamous? Who knows? They have all these other games that filled all the other space, and now they're just gone, and then they all seem to be just tunneling down the Sony formula that we complained about for years. So yeah, Sony needs to get something else. So if they did have something akin to an actual RPG, and yes, I'm saying that on purpose, an actual RPG game with mechanics and stuff like that, then yeah, that would be great. Who here would not love like a Witcher or like a Fallout on PlayStation? Like that type of game.
Yeah, they're fucking amazing.
Massive skill trees you can invest in. There's build diversity you can invest in. There's like all these crazy things you can invest in. That would be great,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm 100% agreeing there. Like Sony needs to do something else apart from what they have, because I'm just bored. This is why I don't get excited for anything Sony does, because it's like, oh yeah, another walkie-talkie game. Next. Like again, I've played walkie-talkie games like all last gen and gen before that, so I'm done with them. They're all the same.
Yeah, they've definitely narrowed their scope as of late. Again, like you said, we're getting The Last of Us for what, the third time? Like, why? But
that was just like, ugh.
Like, why are we doing this?
Because those ponies eat these things up.
Yeah.
You saw Twitter.
Yeah, I know. Oh man.
I don't know why they were eating. I don't know why they were eating that thing up. It's like, why do we need another Last of Us? The first version of Last of Us 1 looks fine. So and then they try to explain, Naughty Dog likes to use the Last of Us game to get used to working with the new consoles. I don't know. Make a fucking Uncharted game. I don't know. Make a new Uncharted game.
Yeah, but Manny, they don't have a new Uncharted TV show coming.
Oh yeah, they don't have a new Uncharted.
Let's just be real. Why this game exists?
Oh no, they had the movie. Why couldn't they put Tom Holland in?
They could have done it. Well, I think that's why they did the collection, the Uncharted collection, tie in with the movie a little bit.
Tie it in with the movie. Yeah.
Chatted.
The Last of Us now spans the same number of generations as Skyrim and GTA 5.
Yeah, it does. For what? For nothing. It's like, that game should have been a one and done. I'm sorry. Like, we didn't need a sequel for that shit, but here we are, But yeah, again, it would be cool if Sony were to get that, but that's a little bit of a trigger for me. Like, okay, they did this, they need to do this now. It's a reaction to it. It's like, how about they need to do this because it would be cool, But again, so yeah, I think we were very clear. Sony needs to diversify a little bit. They used to have it, PS3 era. They used to have it, not anymore. It's crazy. All right. Next question by Mr. J. Ship. Okay, with Starfield releasing solely on Xbox and specifically on Game Pass day one, the number of physical copies and digital copies sold will be minimal. Knowing this is the case, how can you gauge the extent of Starfield's success? Will Microsoft be able to recoup the funds that were invested in a large project like Starfield solely through Game Pass? Again, go ahead.
I don't think we as a consumer will be able to tell, because they're doing, the only thing that we can see what they gauge in interest is players that played the game. Like they touted like numbers in this show today. It was like 20 million people played, 30 million people played. And it's like that really doesn't tell me anything, because with Game Pass, you can just download the game, play 1 second of it, and then you're technically played the game. So it's these figures and numbers are nonsensical to me when it comes to gauging the success of a game.
But then
I feel like
the same with games sold, because you technically buy a game and never play it, and then that still counts as the game has been sold.
But when a game sells, you can attribute a percentage of the game's revenue to the company, and that can lead to them making a sequel to a game or a different game, or the studio not closing and that kind of stuff. There's a different type of engagement, and it's one that we do every week, which is the Twitch viewer engagement, which I feel like it's pretty important. I mean, we've seen it with Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves was dead on the water, no pun intended, but then it just picked up steam. And we saw that it build up, and we saw that on the Twitch activity, and it's a game. It's not. I don't think we can consider it a failure anymore. But they're touting out numbers like 30 million people played Sea of Thieves. Nah, come on. This game is popular, but it's not that kind of popular where 30 million people like if you say The Last of Us, or not even The Last of Us, let's say Ghost of Tsushima sold 30 million copies. It'd be a mega fucking success on a Call of Duty level.
See, well, I think the truth actually lies right between where you and Brian are, because the truth of the matter is you're both talking the same thing. You get the game, you try it. At that point, you've tried it, and they can say that you've gotten the game, and you may hate it, but you still tried it and got it, right? The difference is that you're more prone to try it on Xbox than you would to necessarily buy it, right? So I think the truth is kind of in the middle there, and I think the real paradigm here is that we can't just judge a game's success by sales numbers anymore. Like the whole playing field is changing when you're talking about Game Pass, because now you have to be talking engagement. And for us, that's very difficult. For them, they can tell exactly how many accounts have accessed a game and played it, and calculate how much money they would have made selling physical copies. So they know exactly, actually more so than most times. Like they know exactly when you're playing, like how much you've played, like how far you've gotten into a game. Like, oh, he's tried this game, he's got it 80%, he's got these trophies in it. So they can generally gauge how many of the player base have gone and done thing A and thing B, and use that as feedback. So it doesn't even stop at what's that?
I disagree. If let's say you're who made Sea of Thieves? The Avatar Studio, fucking Banjo-Kazooie. What's the Rare made Sea of Thieves. If you're the head of Rare, and let's say it's me, Tony, Chris, and Adam who play the game alongside you, Brett, and let's say all of us, all four of us will have that same experience that we did, but one of them we all paid $60 for it, and the other one we just tried it out on Game Pass, and we played 2 hours of it. Obviously, Brett played a lot more, but the rest of us averaged just 2 hours. But what would you say? Would you prefer the we all paid $60 for it, or we just tried it out on Game Pass?
I mean, I would prefer that we tried it out on Game Pass. I mean, if you're trying to say how much money would we have made if this wasn't on Game Pass, you could probably look at the actual continuous players engaging, and then the actual number of players who have played the game. Split the difference, and you're probably pretty close.
But you saw the engagement the numbers that they touted today. They said over 30 million have played this game.
Yeah, well, are we talking the numbers they give us, or the numbers they have internally?
They give us.
Okay, just being clear. Go ahead.
Yeah, they said over 30 million people. It said over 30 million players for
that's everybody who's opened the menu ever, and also all their alternate accounts and their brothers and their sisters. And that one time they logged in on their buddy's account while he was still on.
But flip that on its head and say 30 million sold. That's a different type of success.
Yeah,
that's a different type of engagement.
There's no way you're going to sell 30 million.
Well, Call of Duty does it every year. at least close
but this
to
is
it.
Sea of Thieves. This is not Call of Duty.
Yeah, but
And
I'm saying, but Brett, this is what I'm trying to say. If Sea of Thieves sold 30 million copies, it would be bigger than Call of Duty. At least that installment.
Yeah, but look at the panel. Like you just said, there's like 5 of us that tried, 1 of us that paid for it and kept playing. Right? That's like a 20% engagement. So like you can assume that like you guys wouldn't have bought it. You guys wouldn't have bought it if it cost money.
Yeah, but I think this is what Carlos is trying to get at. And Carlos, forgive me if I'm wrong here, right? The numbers you see coming from Game Pass, at least as far as like engagement goes, they're misleading, right? Because, again, like we said, 30 million played versus 30 million sold, way different. So I think these companies are using that to manipulate people, going, shit, 30 million, that's a fucking success. I gotta play this shit now.
That's where I disagree. No, I'm agreeing with everything up until that point. Like, I don't think they're trying to mislead anybody. I think it's a new metric. Like, how do you gauge a game's success when people aren't fucking paying for it?
Yeah,
right. Like,
we talked about this before, and we actually don't have an answer yet. Like because we do need to gauge them by a different way. But it's just I want people to understand they're not 1-to-1. Like on this panel, we understand. Like
here's the thing, Tony. When you buy like Call of Duty, right? Or no, not Call of Duty. Let's say something like when you play fucking Fallout 76, right?
Your favorite game. Let's go.
And let's say it sold 10 million copies, which it did. But let's just say that it sold 10 million copies, right? You can still tell like there's only 1 million people playing. When they say like 10 million copies sold, that doesn't make you think there are 10 million concurrent players on the game.
It makes a lot of people actually believe that, believe it or not.
No, but
but
also,
they do. Remember, you got to understand, most people are fucking idiots, man. Let's just be real here. Yeah.
Like 10% of the people that bought the game are going to be populating it, maybe at the time that you're playing, unless you're getting on that first wave. So like, I feel like across the board, this is how many people played it, and I think you're just expected to take a huge grain of salt because there's not a better way to say this. So you're like, 30 million people engaged, like maybe a third of them liked it. So cool.
I know how to gauge if there's not a sequel.
Yeah, well, and that's going to come from their internal
that's the Netflix way, right? Right. When a show like what is it, Penny Dreadful or whatever show that they paid a bunch of money for, it stays high. They make 1 or 2 seasons, and then there's no end season. You know why? Because nobody's watching, and that's how they know.
Yeah, I mean, and things with like Fallout 76 sold 10 million, and it doesn't matter how much the other people engaged. They already had the guaranteed revenue from the 10 million that sold, and they can use that to do DLC to get more people engaged, or to engage their older users, or to create a sequel. So it's really difficult because we don't know, and this is one of our blind spots. We don't know how exactly Microsoft is compensating these studios with the engagement they're getting with their games. Is it like, do we just pay them up front? Are they paid up front?
They are paid up front. And some developers have said that's actually more secure for them because, like, basically, traditionally, you would have to sell X amount of copies to make a profit. These guys make a profit right off the jump, and then whatever else they make on top of that, it's just a cherry on the top. You know what I'm saying?
The larger question is how long can you keep that up? That's the bigger question.
Yeah.
They're still they still haven't reached the point where Game Pass has been profitable. So everything is all investments now, and they're hoping that all these investments will come to pass. Now, once things start to pan out, and if this thing is consistently bleeding money, you'll see those not so many of those situations happening. But who knows?
I feel like Starfield is going to be a really good indicator of this, because Starfield is a AAA from the ground up game, one of the biggest fucking games we've ever seen. And this game was developed by a studio that was previously third party, that would release it on everything PC, PlayStation, Xbox. Not the Switch though. And they would have, and Starfield, I would have guaranteed you, if it would have been multiplat and not on Game Pass, it would have sold 10 million plus guaranteed. So, and I'm curious to see how when they transition to the Game Pass model, how much did they get up front? Because this game has been in development for years, even before it got acquired by Microsoft. So, it's interesting. I'm not gonna say here that it's bad for the business for Bethesda and them. I'm just saying when the metrics of seeing game sales are much more conclusive from the consumer's eyes, because we sort of been raised to understand what game sales are and what they mean for a company.
Yeah, you're right about that.
We didn't develop from Africa to understand quantum mechanics or Game Pass.
Right. Yeah, man. All right. Moving on to the next question here.
I actually do have a nice metric that you can use, and it's 4 simple words. Okay. Let me solo her.
There you go. Yeah, that's how you know a game's real successful. Yeah.
Yeah. Just see how many people are talking about it on Twitter, and how many people are not talking about it on Twitter.
Yeah, and then you add in like 15 million copies sold on top of that too. But
and also, was it less than a month?
Yeah, exactly.
Also,
so this game sold from the jump.
Okay, no, go on, because I actually need to find out the date this came out.
Yeah, I mean, Elden Ring, sold millions of copies from the jump, even before word of mouth.
Yeah.
So the word of mouth obviously amplified everything, but Elden Ring was going to be a major success regardless.
That is true. It was poised to be a success. Unlike these other journalists who were like, "How is this game successful?" Like, bruh, you haven't been paying attention, have you?
It's a snow.
It had been built for like 5 titles at that point, man.
Yeah. It was a snowball that was already rolling down the hill. Getting bigger and bigger. You guys just didn't notice it until it was too late.
Yeah, exactly.
All over.
That's why I got to give a shout out to Gene Park. He wrote a counter. It's like, no, the game was going to be a success, and this is why. And he broke it all down, because these others are like, how was it successful? It's a niche genre. Okay,
how's Gene doing these days?
He's not doing so well, man. He was like hospitalized recently. He had to have surgery, so he's not doing very hot,
Jeez.
And not to get too off topic, but he was doing some writing. People were like, what the fuck you doing? He's like, dude, I'm trapped in a hospital. I'm bored. I need to do this for my mind, because people thought he shouldn't be working. It's like he needs it. He needs something to do. Trapped in a hospital, eating shitty food,
Yeah.
And apparently he was like left out in the aisle for like 24 hours before they actually saw him. Like, damn, man.
I mean, I've had that
happened to me. I was in there for 12. I was there that long, but I was like, when I was hospitalized, I didn't talk about it. But literally before I started working, I was hospitalized. I was in the aisle for 9 fucking hours, just there. It's fucking bad. Don't get sick now, people. It's brutal.
That's what happened to my mom when she would go to the hospital. Like a few times, they'd have her just sitting in the hallway. I can't help but think of what is it, McCoy? When he was like, "You monsters!"
Yeah, I know. I think that same line every single time I go to hospital. He's like, "You savages,
you savages."
And there was that one part where they finally rolled me into like that seeing room, and I saw all those people just laying there. I'm like, "Yo, this is some Auschwitz shit. This is scary." But anyway, shout out to Gene. Hopefully, he gets better soon. He's been fucked up this entire year. All right, moving on here. Mob Hits, who's been joining us tonight in the chat. All right, will Xbox's 12-month game roadmap entice players to leave or stick around? And one subset also asked a similar question. Does this answer the question of where are the Xbox games? Because every game we saw, according to Microsoft, will be out within the next 12 months. And looking at the infographic here that Carlos, thank you for posting that. It seems we're getting 25 games for the rest of this year, and then 25 games in the early half of next year. So,
well, not all of them are Game Pass, by the way.
Yeah, okay, yeah, and also, not all these will probably come out either. Let's just be real. You know
what? I would say I like the idea of and Microsoft has done this before. Well, I like the idea of like, what, these are coming, like, as opposed to trying to tell everybody what's coming in the future and essentially have people already sort of waiting. It's like in the next 12 months these things are going to come out. I like that, because it's sort of disappointing when you watch like an E3 show, right? And you're looking for all the new things, or or one of these shows, and it's all things that are all coming like in the future. 23, 2024, 2025. It'd be nice to be like, hey, hey, we just announced this game. By the way, it's coming tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm kind of tempted to go through this list, but I'm not going to do that. It's a lot.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's only a few in here that I recognize.
Yeah, I'm not going through, but it's pretty extensive. Somebody caused a stir on Twitter by saying they're going to unsubscribe from Game Pass. That certain person will come back if there's games. It's as simple as that. I said that certain person said that from the jump.
Who's this person?
It was Gene Park and another guy that you may have known for like 30 years. Oh my God! Oh, who left, man? Who left? Was that Brett?
What's on Brett?
Brett probably is transferring from phone to PC, maybe.
Yeah,
transferring.
Yeah. All right. Next question here. Dumeke, who's also been in the chat tonight.
What's up, Dumeke?
Not tonight for him.
Yeah. Or did he leave? No, he's been there. Blitz.
No, he's in New Zealand. It's
it is. Yeah, he's in the future. Yeah.
The future.
I like his question here. What can save Summer Snorefest at this point? The show's over already, isn't it?
Yeah. You mean what was it? Not summer Snorefest. Summer Slumberfest.
Yeah, Slumberfest. Yeah, I like Snorefest. I like that.
Before we go on, I think it's important to mention something, Tony. That you put out a survey.
Yes, I did. It's not over yet. By the way, that other writer I saw, his name is Tommy. That's his name. Tommy, unpronounceable last name.
The Green Ranger.
Yeah. Let's put out Let me. Yeah, I did put out a poll. Obviously,
I got it.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, obviously unscientific, just based on the crazy people that follow me.
We got almost 500 votes.
Oh damn! And your boy.
It was which had a better show, Summer Games Fest or Xbox and Bethesda? And Bethesda, with a resounding 70.5% win, is leading Summer Games Fest currently. Still got a couple of hours left, 19 hours left, but that's it looks insurmountable, that lead.
Yeah, pretty much. That Game Fest, like I said, man, the actual show was not bad, but the games were like.
Well, I guess I don't know. I don't remember.
I think Xbox show was better though. I think it was better put together.
Sure.
Obviously,
Yeah.
But it was more entertaining. Yeah.
I feel like you're giving Summer Games Fest credit because
I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice, man. I'm trying to be nice. They're getting better.
You're trying to be nice, and the way that it was last year was really, really bad. Like
that's what I'm saying. There's improvements. There's improvements going on. I gotta acknowledge that, don't I?
They definitely improved.
They improved. It's not saying it's the greatest show on earth. Barnum and Bailey Circus, but still, it's like It would have been, and I think we said that about one of the other Jeff Keighley shows. Like, this would have been better if they had better games. If it wasn't Jeff Keighley show, it was something else. We're like, this show was actually okay, but the games weren't there.
Yeah, I feel like the situation, things need to be sort of I don't know. I feel like his show it's still trying to find its way, and it's not working out sometimes.
Yeah, it's like they're still trying to figure it out.
I feel like it's the same sort of situation with as it is with the Sony press conferences, where they're like, they obviously do want to represent the independent games and all that stuff, but I feel like you want to really put the standout sort of games, because you got to think about people. You got to think that more than just certain type, one type of person is just doing this, and I feel like you want to keep the energy up and the excitement up. And I feel like every one of these shows, they sort of hit that level where they're just sort of like, it becomes the slumber game fest,
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, okay, like that one middle part or the other thing. So I feel like just sort of try to keep it actiony, and then maybe put out other shows that have other things on it. Like, like if you want to extend it out and want to feature as many things, after Chick Keighley went off, there were other things that showcase other stuff, and the viewership on there was still pretty damn high. So,
I mean, when you end the show in 2022, the biggest, one of the biggest shows, obviously he still got Game Awards, but with the Last of Us remake, I mean, Last year,
I found that really anticlimactic. And the number one, they're trying to get it's a joint marketing where it's essentially
for sure.
to show the TV show. You have Troy Baker come out there and what's her face, who didn't do any additional content for this supposedly new remastered game, or whatever they call a remake. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's last year. A lot of people forgot how bad the show was because was it Elden Ring got showed at the end?
Yeah.
So Elden Ring stole the show, and people forgot, just how bad it was. And this is kind of the opposite. It's like nothing stole the show, but it wasn't as bad as the expectations probably were. So I felt people were just okay with it.
Yeah. Summer Storm Fest. I agree with that name. This is
I like mine. Slumber Game Fest.
Slumber Game Fest. Yeah. Slumber Fest.
Slumber Fest.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Sir Richalot. So he says, and remember, and I didn't have to edit this or anything. As you tell.
It's like the person sending the question. It might be an editor themselves.
Yeah, it might be an editor themselves. So he goes, let me go ahead and start some controversy.
Is he making
He's
controversial
statements
while standing in front of Jeff Keighley?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Well, behind it.
Yeah. So, okay, so he goes, what was the better show? Xbox Bethesda Showcase or the Sony State of Play? Ooh. He goes, this should be an easy question to answer.
Yeah, the Xbox one.
I don't even remember what they showed at the PlayStation 1. I honestly don't remember what the hell they showed.
Well, we know that they didn't show something as good as Starfield.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Xbox by default because I don't remember what the fuck they showed at the PlayStation show.
Yeah, it sort of escaped me.
Yeah, I honestly don't. But I guess the show made that much of an impression on us that none of us remember. Please in the chat let us know what they showed.
Yeah. People in the chat let us know.
Yeah. Okay. Resident Evil 4 remake. That they did. That's right.
Street Fighter 6.
Street Fighter 6.
Street Fighter 6.
Okay.
Oh, Final Fantasy 16. Oh, that's old.
There you go.
I forgot about that.
There you go. Now
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's
it. Yeah. That was
bird
crazy.
memory right there.
Yeah, we all had bird memory. So many shows.
Oh,
shout out Issa Ali.
I realized why I didn't remember any of it because there was nothing on there I really wanted to play.
They ain't got nothing on PlayStation 4 for you, right?
What do they got on there for
me?
I mean, other than Ninja Turtles, which was probably the most exciting thing on that thing that I found because I really don't care about Final Fantasy games anymore.
Callisto Protocol also was something that was shown that was really good.
Which one was that?
Callisto Protocol is the space, the Dead Space looking game.
Oh yeah, but I'm not. I respect the Space franchise and those things, but I'm not. It's not something I'm gonna play.
Yeah, coming out on Xbox as well, by the way.
Yeah, but yeah.
So which show was better? I don't know. Now they're kind of evening. Now they're kind of evening themselves out.
Yeah.
I base it off of I didn't want to fall asleep during the Xbox one, which literally that one section in there and then the Last of Us part of it just made me want to walk away.
Yeah.
To be honest.
See,
I agree.
Yeah. I mean.
Oh, no, that's Summer Games Fest, man.
Summer Game Fest. Yeah, we're talking about State of Play.
Oh, State of Play. It was okay. I mean.
Yeah, I mean it was.
I mean,
good.
there's only so much excitement that you can get for having a bunch of trailers.
I want to be excited for Street Fighter 6, but after Street Fighter 5, I'm very cautious. Very cautious. I want to be hyped.
I don't know. But Street Fighter game is kind of ugly.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of ugly too. That's another problem. But and Resident Evil 4, you guys already know how I feel about that. I don't think that game should have been remade. I'll play it obviously, but I don't think it should have been remade. Callisto Protocol, I'm hype. Give me that shit. Final Fantasy 16 was probably the highlight for me of that show. So now they was like, okay, which one? See, this where I'm conflicted, right? Obviously, I'm more excited for Final Fantasy 16 than I am for Starfield, but I think Xbox had the better show overall, right? We're talking about shows, you know what I'm saying? So, we're gonna go with soccer rules, and I'm gonna call it a tie.
Oh,
yeah, there you go. I know people don't like ties. Way.
I
maiden, ole, 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 ole. All right.
I'm gonna take a stance on this.
I'm being
And
very agnostic about it.
Agnostic
You're
priest.
definitely being non-controversial here.
I am, right? Sorry, Rich.
I'm gonna say I preferred the Xbox press conference over this.
I can respect that. I can respect that.
I think I'm with Tony. Final Fantasy 16. That's my shit. I feel like that was the best game. Well, kind of the best game because we didn't get as much in depth. It was kind of more like a little sizzle reel of stuff. But we're still hyped. Street Fighter 6. I agree with Tony that Street Fighter 5 let me down so bad that man. I can't really take it seriously until it comes out and I know that it's the game that it's supposed to be. But I felt like Microsoft had a lot of like really decent games. Like what's the name of that game that we talked about earlier? The side-scrolling one.
That's a million games, man.
No, there was the detective one. It looked like a Lovecraft thing, like the guy in the 20s and he drives to the house, and it's like Metroidvania. It's like the last case of Benedict something. I don't know. It was something like that.
Oh yeah, the side scroller game looked interesting.
That one looked really good. Cocoon, I actually kind of felt like it was pretty cool. Yeah, well the people who made Inside and Limbo are making that one.
What's it? Wait, Cocoon, the 80s movie?
No,
with the old people.
Fun of that.
We were saying, where's Wilford Brimley?
Yeah, right.
No, there's a game called Cocoon.
Oh, okay, I was about to say, hold on, we doing a Cocoon game because I might be interested in that. We're gonna get batteries included next too. Like, what are we doing here? Anyway, go on. Let's see how many people remember that fucking movie.
Nobody.
But yeah, Diablo 4 and the High of Life and so those games I feel Redfall was pretty decent as well and capped off with Starfield. I felt like that had a lot more substance than the PlayStation one. I mean, both of them had their duds. PlayStation had the VR stuff that I didn't, I was zero interested in. And Microsoft had, the Forza Hot Wheels thing and, the Halo, the flight simulator, Halo collaboration.
Oh, the Halo edition. There you go.
Yeah, I'm like, it's
fly your Spartan dropship 16 hours to Paris.
Yeah, right.
Now, here's the thing. Shouldn't a Spartan dropship be faster than that since the spaceship?
Well, they showed it could go into like space.
Yeah, they go really fast.
So during the conference, I asked, why can't you do that in the new Halo game? Getting the dropship and flying around the Halo.
That'll be season 4.
My little Halo.
All right. All right. Let's move on. A question was just added. Question was just added. This one is from a loyal viewer called Romudeath.
Mr. Romulan. You mean the guy that made that controversial statement that broke the internet?
Exactly. Yeah, he's a troublemaker, that guy, So he has a question for you, Mr. Emilio Lopez.
What?
Now that Hideo Kojima is making a game for Xbox,
No,
will you buy an Xbox Series X?
No. You want to know why? Because Kojima is making a game is not a deciding factor of me buying a console. I didn't buy a PlayStation 4 for Death Stranding. Here's the thing. I feel like it depends on what he's working on. And if I see that it's something that I'm not interested in, which they're talking about a horror game, don't care.
Yeah. There's a follow-up question Mr. Romudeath has. For the rest of the panel. Do you guys want to take bets on this?
If it's going to be like a horror game?
No,
we're on Manny.
Yeah, on Manny.
Buying an Xbox?
Yes.
Oh, that's a good one.
I say eventually.
All right. Nah. So who said?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm going to say this right now. I haven't seen anything, so I am not going to make any sort of decision. And if it's a genre of game that I don't care for, I won't pick it up.
Well,
this is why I think. Go ahead.
You guys think I'm obsessed with Hideo Kojima?
No, we know.
No, it is not that at all.
We think.
Number one, it's like, look, am I chomping at the bit to go fucking buy Snatcher right now for $100 and something on eBay? No, I'm not fucking buying Snatcher. Here's the thing. It depends. It all depends on the game. And if it's something that I am not interested, I am not going to buy it. There are a lot of game developers that have made games that I don't care about, that I don't pick up just because the fucking name is on there. Just because Steven Spielberg made a fucking movie doesn't mean I'm going to go fucking see it.
Well, you did play that UPS simulator.
I think that the big sticky point for you, Manny, and this will be one for me as well, because they said it's a cloud type of deal. I'm like, I don't know.
It's already slightly sounding like, he wants to experiment. Okay, I get it, but I don't give a shit about cloud stuff.
Yeah, so that didn't he talk about this beforehand? Talk about doing something with the cloud.
Yeah, Death Stranding was had some sort of cloud shit in it too. Did that matter? I don't care about that junk.
It's funny when he was talking about, collaborating with Microsoft Game Studios. I'm like, are sure as hell he's not collaborating with 343?
Yeah,
And here's the other question. So does that mean he's going to be using a different game engine? Because he's not going to be using the what is it, the Decima engine?
Ooh, here's the thing. Okay, does he have it? He didn't make his own version of the engine.
No.
Right?
He didn't.
And Sony owns that engine,
from,
right?
Sony owns that engine, so he can't be using that on something else. So
that's right.
I mean, to be honest, if you looked at his recent thing, his recent for his company, it was Unreal that he was talking about experience with Unreal.
Yeah, I think it might be that way.
I think he's moving to Unreal. So
yeah, I was about to say, like, if only there was like another engine out there that was incredibly impressive.
Yes,
or incredibly unreal.
Have something that's on. Yeah, it's unreal expectations of me.
Man. So we'll see about this game. I just found it funny. But Kojima literally goes, "Yo, I got a game coming to Xbox later." Like that was it.
Yeah, like to be honest, like if he was like, this is equivalent to him sitting with Andrew House, right, and doing that little interview with him and Andrew House, and then they're saying we're collaborating together. That's the same shit. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Could you imagine if they did the same deals, like Phil Spencer and him sitting down, and then Phil Spencer was giving him those googly eyes and shit, just like Andrew House.
Yeah.
Remember the memes like get you somebody that looks at you the way Andrew House looks at Hideo Kojima.
Oh yeah.
By the way, to answer the question, I'm not taking a bet on this for particular reasons. Number one, there's a lot of loopholes into this.
Yeah, there are.
Number one, we're still not sure if this is going to be an exclusive to Xbox and PC only. It could come out on PlayStation 5 years after whenever it comes out. We're still not sure. It's just presumptive that it's going to come out exclusively to a Windows or Xbox platform. So that's one. Number two, this game is going to come out in fucking 10 years. And Manny is going to have a better PC than he has today within those 10 years. And he's like, well, I need to play something on my PC since, there's that loophole also.
Yeah.
So I'm not taking bets. You guys know I'm a betting man.
Not playing anything on my PC, even if my PC is.
No, you're talking about 5 years from now, like get a nicer PC, right? And then
when Tony upgrades
your PC though.
No,
when Tony upgrades and he's like, "Yo, man, you want my 3080 Ti?" And then he's like,
"No,
sure."
No, I'm not. I mean, here's the thing: I've never been a one to play things on my work computer. I mean, maybe if I had an alternate computer that was in the living room, but I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, that's no fun. Here's what I say. Why I say eventually. Manny, I understand Manny's frame of mind when approaching games, and having had Game Pass, I kind of feel like he'd like a lot of games on there. And as soon as you get in there and play, you're like, oh, well, because I'm not paying for it, I can just kind of try stuff. It's kind of freeing.
Manny doesn't work like that.
I don't try.
I like how Brett is just trying to pass his agenda.
Yeah, you didn't describe Manny at all.
I foresee myself having the same.
You would try more indie games if they were free.
No. That's not the way he rolls, man.
It more depends on the indie game. Like, to be honest, I feel like I'd have the same bullshit issue that I have with Netflix, where there's so much shit on there that I get stuck into the cycle as to what to pick, as opposed to actually watching anything.
That samurai game.
What samurai game?
Road.
Bought it, played it, finished it.
Yeah. So since you bought it, you're telling me you wouldn't have played it for free?
It's not like it's not free. I'm still paying for it. In fact, I think that costs about as much as the Game Pass thing. It's like 15, 20 bucks.
You might be right.
I don't know.
I can just see.
Granted, I have a lot more time to play games these days since I've changed, employment. But I see like Game Pass like me being dumped into the ocean. Don't know where to go, Maybe maybe there'll be a fish down there that like is something interesting or something like that. But I don't know. I like to have a little bit more of a solid direction than just being left to swim in a direction.
Okay, well, at least on this point, correct me if I'm wrong. You're one of the people, aside from me, that enjoys indie games more, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay. That was my big reasoning, because it's a show.
No, I mean, like, here's the thing, like, I can't. But the one thing is, one thing I can't say is that I can't. It still depends on the indie game. Like, I'm not gonna go play. I don't have any interest in playing something like Hollow Knight or whatever. What was that? The one turn-based RPG that everybody loves.
Turn-based RPG, Persona.
Persona,
not Persona. No. What was the one? It was indie. It's not Persona's not an indie game, by the way.
Okay, indie game. I don't know.
I'm not sure if you heard that. It's Undertale. Like, I don't have any interest in playing like something like an Undertale or any of those Five Nights at Freddy's games or any I have a specific thing that like if something interests me, then I'll go for it, as opposed to just being like, this looks okay. Most of the time I just I like to if something's already attracting me, then I'll walk toward that thing that's attracting me rather than just sort of be in the room with a bunch of billboards flashing at me. I find that confusing, I would guess. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. And the final question of the night here, people. All right. One subset. With the State of Play, Summer Games Fest, and Xbox Bethesda showcases, do we need E3 to come back?
Oh,
do we?
We kind of don't.
Oh, by the way, Manny, it was a Plague Tale.
A Plague Tale. Would I play that?
You said Undertale.
No,
I did mean Undertale.
Oh, you did mean Undertale.
Yeah,
I did mean Undertale.
Yeah, Requiem is not a turn-based game, or Innocence, whatever the fuck it was. Which one of them?
Yeah, that's the third one, right? I can't.
No, there's only two of them, I believe. But I call it the Rat game. That's what I call it.
The Rat.
Yeah, those rats. No, those are action games. Anyway, so. Yeah, no, we don't need E3 anymore. We got these shows instead,
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, obviously, Jeff Keighley is trying to overtake.
Yeah, he is.
Now, I am interested to see what the live event for the Summer Games Fest is actually. Because, to be honest, and we've gone to E3 since 2013.
Yeah,
right?
We've been to a lot of them, yeah.
We've been to a lot of them. If we, coming 2023... that would be 10 years that we had been going to E3.
Yep.
Right?
10-year anniversary, that's right.
10-year anniversary. So it's like, hopefully, as the show has gone on, the experience had just become lesser and lesser until the point where every single studio just pulled out. 2019 was the last one.
It was the last one, yeah. The last one for me was 2018. I'm done with this shit. It just wasn't what it used to be.
I mean, one thing for me is I think I went for 19 is because that's when the game that I worked on was announced by Konami. So it's like,
but you were there. You saw how dead it was.
Yeah, I mean, I was sending you guys pictures of it. So, I mean, if Jeff Keighley can make the experience better for the game studios, where they don't question whether they should get space or whatever they want to do, sure.
Yeah, like if Summer Game Fest becomes the new E3 and they actually do it right, that could be cool. You know, if they do it more in the vein of like a Gamescom or Tokyo Game Show, where they know how to separate the guests and the press and the audiences and stuff. You know, because right now the way it was set up, it was just a mess. You couldn't even get
the
done.
like when it just like they had all the media and the people and industry people come in early, and then toward to 12 o'clock, then everything mingled together. I mean, I feel like just leave it industry and then eventually open it up to the public later.
Yeah, but you also have to make it better for the public, because I don't think it's right that people fly all this time or travel or whatever and then spend half a day on a line for a single game. That's also not cool either for the regular person, you know?
Exactly.
So it's like it needs to be fixed on both ends, for the press and for the public. So yeah, if Jeff Keighley, I mean, because yes, I am speaking as like a person that covers things. I would personally like it if there's just 1 week where I need to cover this shit, not an entire summer of this stuff, But then again, I also heard fans, Brett is like that, wants 1 week where everything happens. I think that'd be good for everybody. So if it's Jeff Keighley, then so be it. But E3 is going to have a hard time on its hands the next year, because it's going to be competing with Jeff Keighley. Jeff Keighley's going to try his best to coerce companies over to his side.
Yeah, like now
that's going to be a mess to cover too, because you're going to be darting around like, I got to get Keighley's thing, I go to the convention center.
I mean, here's the funky thing. Like, where will they do it? Like, will Keighley do some crazy shit? Essentially, like. Remember, like, isn't the Vegas place a lot larger than?
Oh they cool.
So shit, what if this motherfucker was able to get it in Vegas, a place that literally.
Petty would that be? Think about it. Then reporters are going to have to be like, okay, where the fuck do I go? Do I go to Vegas or do I go to LA?
Vegas, man. I would go to Vegas.
To be honest, like, if you think about it, if Keighley is able to attract all the big stars out there, that's where you're going.
Yeah, you're going to go to Vegas, yeah.
You're going to end up going to Vegas.
That'd be interesting.
Because you have an E3, because again, like, you even saw it, like, E3 was slowly but like when we went to our first E3, that both rooms were filled with developers, from independent developers to big studios, but then Activision Blizzard pulled out, a bunch of the smaller companies, Devolver Digital couldn't even afford to have a thing on on the show floor, so they had to put like their thing in the parking lot across the street. So, all these companies essentially poked holes in, because it's like, we're essentially paying for the privilege to show up and have a table.
Yeah, and they were getting charged a lot of money, apparently.
And they're getting charged a lot of money to do it.
Yeah, E3 was just not good for anybody anymore. So let it die.
I mean, I feel like whatever experience, I want to know what experience that Jeff had with the ESA that said where he just said, you know what, motherfucker, I'm going out and I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah, because remember, he was hosting an E3 show. He
was. What happened that he said, you know what, I'm done with these motherfuckers, because these guys don't know how to do shit.
Yeah.
Maybe he's throwing out ideas and they're just like, nah, well, we know how to do this. You're just a host.
Yeah, right. Like, I'm just a host, huh? I'll show you.
I'll show you, motherfucker.
Oh man. All right, man. I think we're done here. Another good show. 2 shows for you people, man. Throwdown. That's how we do around here. I don't think there's any more big events happening, right? That I'm aware of.
No, not that we know of. I mean, here's the thing: the Summer Games Fest is still on. Capcom has a thing tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah.
And there's a couple of other things that are going to be happening here and there. Not to advertise their thing, but yes, they're going to be still doing things. So we'll see what happens. Does Square Enix have anything on the docket or no? Or was that Final Fantasy thing on the PlayStation deal?
Yeah, I think that may have been it.
No, is it? Okay.
Yeah. All right, man. So that's it. Do we have anything to plug?
Nope. Got a lot of things coming. Can't talk about it, but you'll see what they are eventually.
Yeah. And then watch I Am Negan, the nuke.
I Am Negan. I'm not exactly sure what the schedule is right now. But just keep an eye out for I Am Negan on the coalition.com. Carlos is not going to be on those, and he only does the main shows, not the side quests.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, J Shep, thank you for reminding me. There will be a Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary thing going on this week. I think this is just me just thinking out loud, but it would be a very good opportune time to show off Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. I don't think, who knows, but it would be a good time to give us something. You got to have something, you know?
Okay.
Capcom's going to do their something tomorrow. And then down the line, Subgator was going on, brother.
What's up, Mr. Gator?
He reminds us Tokyo Game Show will be happening.
Yeah, that's up in September.
Mm-hmm. And Gamescom, I believe, is also happening this year. We're seeing things kind of returning again, which is nice. You know, so hopefully we'll stay on that because this decade has sucked so far.
Oh, but yo, on the 16th, man, we're gonna play some Turtles.
That's right. Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. Ninja Turtles comes out on the 16th. So what is that, Friday?
On Thursday.
Oh, Thursday. Oh shit, that's yo man. Throwdown now, man. We won't be able to play it then. Oh man,
Throwdown will be 10 Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
what you want to bet somebody's playing in the background on Thursday?
Oh, you already know. You know Chris is gonna be doing that shit.
Yeah, you won't hear chopping. You'll hear like, yeah, cowabunga.
Pizza time.
Pizza time.
Oh man. All right, people. So you already know. Follow us on Twitch and Twitter. Join the Discord where the conversations and the rumors are always popping. Throwdown Show. We are on every podcast app on the planet. Throwdown Show, 2 words. Throwdown Show. Throwdownshow.com to listen to past episodes. And if you have been watching us on the YouTube and you enjoyed the content, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of when our premieres or any other random streams that we do go live. Again, thank you guys for joining us for 2 shows. Hope you guys enjoy it and all that. Links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero. Yo. Peace out, whatever the fuck he says. Brett Murdoch.
Deuces.
And Brian Manjoma.
It's coming up to 4 months now, and still no sales numbers.
Oh, damn. Lucy, got some explaining to do.
But they got some DLC.
There's DLC coming. Maybe then. No, Mop Hits.
I'm sorry, but I don't count New Game Plus as DLC. That should be the fucking game.
Mop Hits, we can't eat pizza while playing Turtles. How's that gonna? We're gonna get grease all over our fucking controllers. You know.
I could do that.
Yeah, maybe something like.
No, but I got to get it shipped in from New York.
Oh,
none of the shitty ass Philly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. All right, people. All right, people. We'll see you, man, later.
Peace out.
Ladies.